"Mom, just go home. You'll only slow us down." Those were the words my daughter Sarah said to me at Gate 22, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. I was holding my passport and a ticket to Paris I would never use. My other daughter Lisa stood next to her, nodding. My 4 grandkids didn't even wave goodbye. It was 6:45 in the morning. Our plane to France was leaving in less than 2 hours. I had spent $520,000 on this vacation. For weeks across Europe, 8 cities, staying in beautiful hotels. This was the dream my husband Mark and I talked about for years before he died. "You understand, right?" Lisa said. "We need this to be fun. We can't worry about you the whole time." Sarah picked up her suitcase and walked toward the gate. She never turned around. I stood alone while my daughters got on a plane I bought tickets for. People walking by looked at me. A woman in a uniform asked if I was okay. Said yes. Then I walked outside, found a taxi and called one person. In less than an hour, their vacation was cancelled. That's when I learned what they were really doing behind my back. The papers they signed 8 months ago. The fake doctor's letter saying I couldn't think clearly anymore. The secret bank accounts. The plan to sell my home while I was supposed to be locked away somewhere I couldn't escape. They didn't just want my money. They wanted to make me disappear. My name is Margaret Chen. I'm 65 years old. I worked for 40 years as a nurse at Dallas Presbyterian Hospital, taking care of people who couldn't take care of themselves. When my own daughters tried to steal everything I worked for, I used everything I learned about fighting for patients to fight for myself. This isn't about getting revenge. It's about what happens when people think you're weak because you're older. If you've ever been thrown away by family who should love you, this story is for you. I won't tell you to subscribe. You can decide that yourself. But I will say this. By the end, you'll know exactly what to do when someone tries to make you invisible. Because that morning at the airport was just the start. And I wasn't the one who lost everything. Let me go back 4 months. It was September. The trees in Richardson, Texas were still green, and I was sitting by myself in the house Mark and I bought in 1989. 3 bedrooms, too quiet for one person, filled with things we chose together over 35 years of marriage. I'd been retired from the hospital for 4 years. 40 years as a nurse in the children's ward. Good career, steady retirement check of $7,800 every month. Plus savings I'd built up to $2.1 million. Mark and I always said we'd travel after retirement. That was our promise to each other. But cancer doesn't care about promises. After he passed away, I kept thinking about that dream. Keep the family close. Sarah and Lisa were my girls. Sarah had 3 children, Tommy age 14, Grace age 11, and baby Nathan who was 6. Lisa had 1 daughter, Zoe, who just turned 10. Beautiful kids. Smart kids. I barely got to see them. Maybe on holidays. Maybe at birthday parties if Sarah and Lisa remembered to invite me. Lisa was always posting pictures online. She had 62,000 people watching her page where she showed off fancy trips and expensive bags. Later I found out they couldn't really pay for any of it. Sarah worked at a big company selling software. She made about $210,000 each year. Which sounds like a lot until you learn they owed $215,000 on credit cards they couldn't pay back. I didn't know about that in September. What I knew was that I missed Mark, I had money saved up, and I wanted to do something important before I got too old. So I called a fancy travel company and bought their grand European family package. 28 days, 8 countries, special plans just for us. $520,000 paid all at once on October 22nd. Then I called Sarah. "Hey Mom." Her voice sounded busy like she was doing 10 other things while talking. "I'm planning a family trip," I told her. "Europe 4 weeks. I want you and Lisa and all the grandkids to come. I'm paying for everything." She got quiet. Then she said, "Europe, Mom, we'd have to check if we can take off work. Lisa's got some important meetings coming up." "Everything is paid for," I said. "Flights, hotels, all of it. I just want time with my grandchildren. With you both." Another long pause. "Let me talk to Lisa and I'll call you back." She called 2 days later. Lisa had done the math. $520,000 for 7 people meant about $74,000 each person. Suddenly those important meetings could wait. They said yes. Over the next few months, I watched them get excited about the trip, but never about spending time with me. Lisa posted countdown pictures online every day. Sarah looked up fancy restaurants in Italy. The kids practiced saying hello in different languages. Nobody asked how I could afford it. Nobody asked if I was happy. Nobody invited me when they talked about where to go. They never asked how I was doing after Mark died either. They just asked when I would sell the house, how much money was left, and if there was anything they needed to know about what I was leaving them. But I told myself it was fine. Once we were on vacation together, things would change. We'd have 4 weeks as a family. We'd make happy memories. We'd be close again. I was so wrong. January 7th, 5:45 in the morning. I picked everyone up from Sarah's house in Plano. I rented a big van because I wanted us to drive to the airport together like real families do. Sarah loaded the bags while Lisa checked her makeup in the mirror. The kids climbed in back with their headphones on. The drive to DFW Airport took 50 minutes. Nobody talked to me. Sarah looked at her phone. Lisa put on makeup. I tried asking Tommy about school, but he just said it's fine and went back to his game. We got to the airport at 6 o'clock. International Terminal D. The airport was packed with people. Families hugging goodbye. People running to catch flights. That excited feeling when you're about to go somewhere special. Felt it too. Even though nobody was talking to me, I was excited. This was really happening. The security line took 30 minutes. I moved slower than my daughters. 65-year-old knees don't like standing for a long time, but I kept going. I got through the checkpoint okay. We walked to gate 22 in Terminal D. Our flight to Paris was scheduled for 8:45. We had plenty of time. At 6:35 we reached the gate. Lisa immediately went to the big window to take pictures for her online page. Sarah sat down and opened her computer. The kids asked for money to buy coffee and donuts. I sat down next to Sarah. "Are you excited?" I asked. "Yeah, Mom, it should be nice." She didn't look up from her computer. "I'm so glad we're doing this together," I said. "Your dad would have loved this so much." "Margaret." Lisa was standing right in front of me. Her arms were crossed. Sarah closed her computer. "We need to talk," Lisa said. The gate agent hadn't even called for boarding yet. All around us, other people were sitting down, reading books, watching the planes outside. Normal airport stuff before a flight. Lisa looked at Sarah. Sarah looked away. "This isn't going to work," Lisa said. "What do you mean? You coming with us?" She said it like I should already know what she meant. "You're too slow, Margaret. Security, everyone had to wait for you. Walking here we had to stop 3 times. 4 weeks of this. The kids have been so excited for this trip. We can't let you ruin it for them." I looked at Sarah. "Honey." She stared at the floor. "It's better like this," Lisa kept going. "You should just go home and rest. We'll take lots of pictures. The kids will tell you all about it when we come back." Tommy, Grace, Nathan, and Zoe were standing a few feet away holding their snacks, looking at their shoes. None of them would look at me. "I paid for this whole trip," I said quietly. "We know and we're grateful, we really are. But you're 65 years old. You can barely walk through an airport without getting tired. What happens when we're trying to catch trains? When we're climbing steps in old buildings? You'll make us late. You'll complain. You'll need to rest every hour." She made her voice softer, like that would make it hurt less. "This is better for everyone, Margaret." "Sarah," I said. My daughter finally looked up. For just a second, I saw shame on her face. But then Lisa touched her arm and that look went away. "Mom," Sarah said, "maybe she's right. Maybe you should skip this trip." The speaker overhead started announcing boarding. "First-class passengers, please start boarding now." Lisa grabbed her bag. "Come on everyone, let's get on the plane." Tommy, Grace, Nathan and Zoe followed her toward the gate. Sarah waited a moment, then picked up her suitcase. I sat there holding a passport and ticket I would never use. My own daughters didn't defend me when they said I was too old. I don't remember walking out of the airport. One minute I was sitting at gate 22 watching my family board a plane I paid for. The next minute I was standing outside in the pickup area watching cars drive past. The air was cold for January in Texas. I took out my phone and called for a taxi. Then I stood there breathing, trying to understand what just happened. They thought I was weak. Too slow. Problem. They took my money and threw me away like I was broken. Taxi arrived, a blue Honda. Driver was named Rosa. She was about 45, friendly, smiled at me and asked how my day was going. Said fine. I gave her my address in Richardson and sat back. She tried talking to me for the first few minutes. Asked if I'd been on a trip. Said no. Asked if I had family nearby. Said yes. After that she stopped asking questions. We were on Highway 75 going south when I pulled up the email from the travel company. Booking number GTE 19472. $520,000 paid completely. Leaving January 7th at 8:45 in the morning. I pressed the phone number for customer help. 4 rings. Grand Travel Europe, this is Jennifer speaking. How can I help you today? My name is Margaret Chen, I said. Booking number GTE 19472. I need to cancel everything. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Mrs. Chen. Can you tell me why you're canceling? Family emergency. Understand. Let me look up your trip in our system. I heard typing on a keyboard. Oh my goodness, this is our Grand European Family Package. Your flight leaves this morning. Actually, your flight should be boarding right now. It is, I said. Mrs. Chen, I need to tell you that our rules for same-day canceling include a 20% fee. You would get back $416,000. The $104,000 fee cannot be changed. That's fine. Are you absolutely sure? This is a lot of money and it's your family vacation. I'm sure. Cancel it all. More typing sounds. Then okay, it's done. You'll get an email in less than 10 minutes. And the money will be back in your bank in 7 to 10 business days. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, thank you, Jennifer. Hung up. Rosa looked at me in the mirror. Everything okay? Fine, I said. We drove without talking for another 15 minutes. Then my phone started ringing. Sarah. I didn't answer. Rang again. Lisa. I let it ring. Sarah again. Lisa. Rosa cleared her throat. Somebody really wants to talk to you. They can leave a message, I said. We were pulling into my neighborhood when the 6th call came. Answered. Mom, Sarah's voice was sharp and scared. What did you just do? I canceled the trip. You can't do that. We're at the gate. They're saying our tickets don't work anymore. That's right. Mom, this isn't funny. There are hundreds of people watching security walk us away from the gate. Lisa is I heard Lisa in the background yelling at someone. Grace was crying. You can go home now, I said. Rest. I'll send you pictures. You spiteful old, I hung up. Rosa pulled into my driveway. My house looked exactly the same as when I left 3 hours ago. Quiet. Me. Waiting. That sounded rough, Rosa said. I gave her $40 extra. They'll survive. Inside, I made tea and sat at the kitchen table. The same table where Mark and I used to plan trips we never got to take. The same table where Sarah and Lisa did their homework when they were little. The same table where I'd sat alone for 4 years eating dinner by myself, waiting for phone calls that almost never came. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. You just embarrassed us in front of everyone. I will never forgive you. Put the phone down. Then I picked it back up and called a different number. Anderson Legal, how can I direct your call? Patricia Anderson, please. Tell her Margaret Chen is calling. She'll want to talk to me. Lisa's scream could probably be heard all through the airport. I was already home. Patricia Anderson came to my house at 11 o'clock. She'd been Mark's lawyer when we set up our family trust before he got sick with cancer. After Mark died, Patricia became the person in charge of what we called Mark's Family Trust. $2.6 million in savings with Sarah and Lisa as the people who would get it someday. She was 58 years old, very smart with short black hair cut in a simple style. She walked in carrying a brown leather bag that I'd learned meant either very good news or very bad news. Margaret, she set the bag on my kitchen table. When you called, you said we needed to talk about your daughters. What happened? I told her about the airport. About Lisa telling me I was too old and too slow. About Sarah standing there silent while her sister threw me away from a trip I paid for. Patricia didn't interrupt me. When I finished, she sat quiet for a long time. "There's something you need to know," she said. "I've been trying to reach you for 3 weeks. Your voicemail was full and you weren't checking your email. I was busy getting ready for the trip." Margaret, she opened her bag and pulled out a thick folder of papers. "Sarah and Lisa filed a legal petition 8 months ago." The tea in my stomach turned to ice. "What kind of petition?" She spread papers on the table. Official stamps. Court of Dallas County, Texas. Case number 25 GC08471. Petition for legal guardianship. Filed May 15, 2025 by Sarah Chen Williams and Lisa Chen Bradshaw. "I don't understand," I said. "Your daughters are trying to have you declared unable to take care of yourself. They're claiming you have memory problems, that you can't handle money or make health choices. They want legal control over everything. Your bank accounts, your medical care, where you live." I stared at the papers in front of me. I didn't know anything about this. "That's because their lawyer filed the first paperwork with a wrong address. Your old apartment in Austin from 20 years ago. The court letters never got to you. I only found out because I'm in charge of Mark's trust, and Texas law says I have to be told about any legal action that might affect what the trust beneficiaries get." "When is the court hearing?" "April 8th. 13 weeks from now." She pulled out another paper. "This is the doctor's report. Do you know a doctor named Stephen Walsh?" "I've never heard of that name." "He's the doctor who examined you." "According to this, I've never been examined by any doctor except my regular doctor." Patricia's face got tight. "According to this report, Dr. Walsh met with you on December 10th at your house. He says you showed serious memory problems, couldn't remember recent events, got confused about money, and can't make hard decisions anymore. His advice is that you need full guardianship." "Patricia, I've never met this man in my life." "I know," she said. She pulled out her computer. "Because Dr. Walsh went to college with Lisa. Texas State University, graduated in 2008. They're friends online. He's liked 89 of her pictures in the last 2 years. The pieces were coming together, ugly and clear. They made up a fake doctor's visit." "That's what I think, yes. And Margaret, if this goes through, you'll lose everything. Legal guardianship means your daughters control your money. They can sell your house. They can empty your bank accounts. They can put you in a care home. You won't be able to fight back. You won't even be able to hire a lawyer without their permission." I thought about Lisa at the airport. "You're 65 years old. You can barely walk through an airport." Setting up the story so anyone who heard about it would think, well, maybe she really is losing her mind. "What can we do?" "We fight it," Patricia said. "I'll file papers to throw it out based on fake medical evidence." "But Margaret," she looked at me carefully, "there's more. Do you have a bank account with both your names and Sarah's names on it?" "We opened it 12 years ago. It was supposed to be for emergencies if I ever needed help with bills or why." She turned her computer toward me. "Bank statement. Chase Bank, account ending in 5294. On January 2nd, $85,000 was moved out of this account to an offshore bank. Caribbean Trust Bank, Cayman Islands." Felt dizzy. I didn't say yes to that. "No. Sarah has permission to use the account. She doesn't need you to say yes." Patricia pulled up another screen. "I have a friend at Chase Bank who marked this as possible elder abuse. The timing is suspicious. 5 days before your trip, right after you paid the travel company $520,000. My guess is Sarah thought you wouldn't notice until you were in Europe. And once the guardianship went through, she could say it was moved for your protection. $85,000 just gone. Can we get it back?" Texas law has something called financial exploitation of the elderly. If we can prove Sarah took the money without you knowing and she did it to steal from you, yes. We can freeze the account, demand the money back, and she paused, and we can use the protection clause. I'd almost forgotten about that part. When Mark set up the trust, he insisted on one special rule. Section 9.2. If any person who was supposed to get money from the trust did elder abuse, financial, physical, or emotional, the person in charge of the trust could stop their benefits or take them away completely. You want to cut Sarah and Lisa off from the trust. I want to protect you, Patricia said. And I want to make it very clear that there are consequences for what they did. If I activate Section 9.2, Sarah and Lisa lose access to the trust. All $2.6 million. It gets frozen until we fix the guardianship problem and the financial abuse investigation. They'll be furious. But let them be. She started packing her computer. I need you to call the Elder Abuse Hotline. The number is 1-800-252-5400. Tell them everything. The bank account, the offshore transfer, the fake doctor's report, the guardianship petition. They'll open an investigation. Chase Bank will freeze the account right away. How long will all this take? The freeze 1 day. Getting your money back maybe weeks. Fighting the guardianship months. But Margaret, she looked at me, you need to understand what you're up against. Your daughters aren't just trying to take your money. They're trying to erase you. Legally. Permanently. I thought about Sarah at the airport, how she couldn't look at me. I thought about Tommy, Grace, Nathan and Zoe standing there with their snacks, watching their grandmother get thrown away. Do it, I said. Activate the clause. Freeze the account. File everything. Patricia nodded. I'll have the papers ready this afternoon. Sarah and Lisa will get an email within 3 hours. But she stood up. Margaret, I need to ask. Are you okay? This is a lot to process. I looked at the guardianship papers on my table. The fake doctor's report. The bank statement showing $85,000 stolen. I'm not the one who needs to worry, I said. They didn't just want my money. They wanted to erase me from existence. That afternoon at 2:30, I was on the phone with the Texas Elder Abuse Hotline when Patricia sent me a text. Clause activated. Email sent to Sarah and Lisa at 2:18. Get ready. The woman on the hotline, her name was Carmen, had a kind voice that reminded me of my sister who passed away 5 years ago. She was writing down everything I said very carefully. And you're certain you didn't give permission for the transfer to the Caribbean account? I didn't even know that account existed until this morning. Mrs. Chen, based on what you're telling me, this looks like financial exploitation of an elderly person under Texas law. I'm marking this for immediate investigation. You should hear from Adult Protective Services within 2 days. In the meantime, I'm putting an alert on your Social Security number and I'm recommending the joint account be frozen immediately. Do you have the account number? I read it to her. Chase Bank, ending in 5294. Got it. They'll get our notice within the hour. Is there anything else you're worried about? Any other accounts your daughters can access? No, just that one. But, Mrs. Chen, you did the right thing by calling us. Many people don't realize when family members are hurting them. It takes bravery to report this. I didn't feel brave. I felt tired and sad. We hung up at 3:10. By 3:15 my phone was ringing. Sarah. I didn't answer. I listened to the message later. Mom, what the hell did you do? I got an email from Patricia Anderson saying the trust is frozen. Call me back right now. I deleted it. 3:20 Lisa. Voicemail. Margaret, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you need to fix this now. That trust money belongs to us. Dad left it to us. You can't just take it because your feelings got hurt. I deleted that one too. 3:30. Sarah again. Voicemail. Mom, please. I'm sorry about the airport. Lisa was stressed. She didn't mean what she said. We can talk about this. Just call Patricia and tell her to unfreeze the trust. Please. That almost got to me. Almost. I made myself a sandwich instead. Sat at the table. Slowly. 3:50. My phone rang again. Different number. Answered. Mrs. Chen, this is David Park from Chase Bank Fraud Department. We've received notice from Texas Adult Protective Services about account 5294. We've frozen all activity on this account as of 3:35 this afternoon. You should have gotten an email. I did. Thank you. I need to tell you that we're also starting a wire recall on the $85,000 transfer made on January 2nd. International wire recalls can take 20 to 45 business days and we can't promise success, but given the situation and the APS flag, we're treating this as urgent. What are the chances of getting the money back? If the receiving bank cooperates, maybe 65%. Caribbean Trust Bank has been on our watch list for suspicious activity. They might not want the attention. Thank you, David. One more thing, Mrs. Chen. The account shows 23 attempted transactions in the last hour. All declined because of the freeze. Someone is trying very hard to move money. Sarah panicking. Can you tell me how much she tried to move? The attempts ranged from $8,000 to $55,000. All to the same Caribbean account. She was trying to hide everything before I could stop her. Thank you for telling me. I hung up and looked at my phone. 41 missed calls. 19 voicemails. I blocked Sarah's number. I blocked Lisa's number. Then I sat in the quiet of my kitchen and felt something I hadn't felt in 4 years. Power. At 5 o'clock, Patricia called. How are you doing? Better than Sarah and Lisa, I think. I've been getting emails from their lawyer. 5 of them in the last 2 hours. Very angry language. They're threatening to sue me personally for not doing my job right. Can they do that? They can try. They'll lose. The protection clause is solid. And I have proof of financial abuse and fake medical records. But Margaret, you need to be ready. This is going to get much worse before it gets better. I'm ready. There's something else. I did some research into your daughter's finances. That credit card debt I mentioned. It's worse than I thought. $215,000 across 8 cards. Interest between 21 and 31%. They've been making minimum payments for 2 years. No. Most of it is from investing in cryptocurrency. Sarah bought heavily in early 2023 right before the market crashed. Lost about $180,000. She's been trying to make it back ever since. And she thought the trust money would fix everything. That's what I think. The guardianship petition was filed 2 months after her 4th credit card company started calling about missed payments. This isn't about your health, Margaret. It's about her debt. I thought about the offshore account. $85,000 gone. She already spent some of my money on cryptocurrency. Almost certainly. Which means even if we get that $85,000 back, there's a good chance it's already gone into more bad investments. The doorbell rang. Patricia, someone's at my door. Don't answer it. Why? Because your daughters know where you live and they just lost access to $2.6 million. I don't think they're thinking clearly right now. The doorbell rang again. Then loud knocking. Mom, I know you're in there. Open the door. Sarah's voice. Loud. Angry. Margaret, I'm calling the police. Whoa. Let me talk to them. Absolutely not. You shouldn't, Patricia. I'm not scared of my own daughters. I hung up and walked to the front door. Opened it. Sarah was standing on my porch. Her face was red. She was sweating even though it was cold outside. Lisa was behind her with her arms crossed, looking furious. Come inside, I said. They followed me to the living room. Nobody sat down. You can't do this, Sarah said. That trust. Dad left it to us. It's ours. Your father left it in a trust, I corrected her, with rules. One of those rules was that you had to treat me with basic respect. You broke that rule. We didn't break anything. We just didn't want you slowing us down on vacation. You told me I was too old, too slow, a problem. You took my money and tried to leave me at the airport like I was garbage. Mom, that's not what, and then I found out about the guardianship petition. Sarah's face went white. The what? Lisa said. Oh, she didn't tell you. Your sister filed legal papers 8 months ago trying to have me declared mentally unable to take care of myself. She paid a doctor to write a fake report. She was going to take control of everything I own. My house, my bank accounts, my medical decisions. She was going to put me in a nursing home. Lisa turned to Sarah. You didn't tell me about that. It wasn't, I was just, and 5 days ago I continued. She moved $85,000 from our joint account to a bank in the Cayman Islands without telling me. That money is ours, Sarah shouted. That account has both our names. I had every right to, you had permission to use it, not permission to steal from it. And Adult Protective Services agrees with me. The account is frozen. The money is being recalled. And you're being investigated for financial abuse of an elderly person. Sarah stepped toward me. You mean old woman? Get out of my house. This isn't over. I'll fight the trust freeze. I'll fight the guardianship dismissal. You'll lose, I said quietly. 'Cause I have proof. Patricia has proof. The state of Texas has proof. And every time you open your mouth you give me more. Lisa grabbed Sarah's arm. Come on. We're leaving. At the door, Sarah turned back. I hope you're happy, Mom. You just destroyed your own family. No, Sarah, I said. You did that when you decided I was worth more gone than alive. Close the door. Sarah called me 22 times that day. I didn't answer once. For 4 days I didn't hear from my daughters. No calls. No text. No emails threatening to sue. Just silence. I should have known better. On January 11th, 5 days after the airport disaster, I had a meeting with Michael Torres. Patricia had hired him. A private investigator who specialized in financial fraud. 48 years old. Used to work for the FBI in their financial crimes division. Now he ran his own company out of Fort Worth. He came to my house at 9 o'clock in the morning carrying a laptop and a folder that looked even thicker than Patricia's. Mrs. Chen, his handshake was strong. I've spent the last 4 days looking into your daughter's financial activities. What I found is very concerning. We sat at the kitchen table. Patricia told me the basics, he continued. The guardianship petition. The offshore transfer. The credit card debt. I went deeper. He opened the laptop and pulled up a spreadsheet. Sarah's been moving money very aggressively for the last 8 months. Small transfers. Frequent. Designed to avoid setting off bank alerts. She's been pulling from the joint account in amounts of $4,000 to $7,000. Over time it adds up. How much total? Besides the $85,000 to the Caribbean, another $52,000 in smaller transfers to various cryptocurrency exchanges. Most of those investments are now worth about $9,000 total. She lost $43,000 of your money gambling on digital coins. My stomach hurt. There's more, Michael said. On January 9th, 3 days after the airport incident, Lisa signed a preliminary agreement with a real estate investment company called Horizon Property Group. Agreement for what? His house. I stared at him. A house. The one we're sitting in. According to this agreement, if Sarah and Lisa are granted guardianship, they have authority to sell this property. Horizon offered $640,000 for a house currently valued at $820,000. That's 22% below what it's worth. Quick close. 25 days. Cash offer. They can't sell my house. I'm not unable to take care of myself. Not yet. But if the guardianship petition had gone through, if you hadn't found out, they would have had that authority by June. And according to this agreement, the sale would close in July. You'd be out of this house by August. Where did they think I would go? Michael flipped through the folder and pulled out a brochure. Meadowbrook Senior Living. Basic Care Facility in Garland, Texas. $2,200 a month for a shared room. Called them. They have a bed available. Lisa asked about it on November 18th. November. 2 months before the trip. Before the airport. She'd been planning this for that long. Did she tell them why? She said her mother had severe dementia and could no longer live alone. Mark died of cancer. I watched it destroy him for 2 years. Lisa told a nursing home I had dementia like it was nothing. My hands started shaking. Mrs. Chen, I need to show you one more thing. Michael pulled up a document. Legal letterhead. This is a draft petition for grandparent access restriction. Texas Family Code Section 153.433. It was prepared by Lisa's lawyer on January 5th, the day before your trip. What is that? If Sarah and Lisa obtained guardianship over you, this order would legally restrict your contact with Tommy, Grace, Nathan, and Zoe. The reason given here is that your declining mental state and emotional problems could cause harm to the children's well-being. If this were approved, you wouldn't be allowed to see your own grandchildren without your daughter's supervision. I couldn't breathe. They were going to take everything. The house. The money. The grandkids. My whole life. Why? What did I do to them? Michael closed the laptop. Mrs. Chen, I've investigated many elder abuse cases. Usually it's about money. Pure greed. Kids who can't wait for their parents to die naturally. But sometimes he paused, sometimes it's about control. Your daughters are drowning in debt. Their lives look perfect online, but they can't afford any of it. They're facing financial collapse. And they blame you. For what? For being stable. For having money. For representing everything they've failed to achieve. Taking your assets wouldn't just solve their money problems. It would punish you for being successful while they're failing. I thought about Sarah at the airport. How she couldn't look at me. How she let Lisa speak for her. What do I do now? We fight. Patricia's already filed papers to dismiss the guardianship petition. The fake doctor's report won't hold up in court. But Mrs. Chen, you need to understand. Your daughters aren't going to stop. They're desperate. And desperate people are dangerous. You think they'll come after me? I think you should be very careful. Change your locks. Don't meet with them alone. Keep records of every conversation. And Michael pulled out a small device. Consider carrying this. It's a digital voice recorder. Sony ICDPX 470. If Sarah or Lisa contact you, record the conversation. Texas is a one-party consent state, which means you don't need their permission to record. Anything they say is usable in court. I took the recorder. There's one more option, Michael said carefully. It's risky, but it could end this quickly. What option? We set up a meeting. You tell Sarah and Lisa you want to talk. That you're reconsidering the trust freeze. You record everything and you let them talk. Desperate people say things they shouldn't. If your daughters admit to the guardianship plan, the fake doctor, the planned house sale, any of it, we have them. Complete confession. Case over. That's a trap. It's an opportunity for truth. I looked at the voice recorder in my hand. Thought about Sarah's voice on the phone. Angry and desperate. Thought about Tommy, Grace, Nathan, and Zoe. Who hadn't called me. Who maybe didn't even know what their mothers were planning. Set it up, I said. They weren't just stealing my money. They were erasing me from my grandchildren's lives. On January 14th, I called Sarah. She answered immediately. I want to talk, I said. My voice was quiet. Maybe a little shaky. Practice this. About everything. Can you and Lisa come to the house? Long silence. Then why? So you can ambush us again. No ambush. I've been thinking about the airport. About the trust. Maybe I overreacted. I could hear her breathing. What do you mean? I was hurt. Angry. Maybe I didn't think clearly. You're my daughters. You're all I have left of your father. I don't want to spend whatever time I have left fighting with you. Mom, her voice got softer, I don't want to fight either. Then come over Thursday morning. 10 o'clock. Just the three of us. We'll talk. What about Patricia and the trust? I'll talk to her. If we can work this out as a family, I think she'll listen. Another pause. Okay, Sarah said finally. Thursday at 10. Thank you, Sarah. Hung up. Looked at Michael, who was sitting across from me at the kitchen table. You're good at this, he said. I don't feel good about it. You shouldn't. But it's necessary. Patricia came over an hour later. She'd brought the recorder Michael gave me, plus a small microphone I could clip to my shirt and a tiny camera that looked like a regular pen. Texas law allows one-party recording, she said. You don't need to tell them you're recording. You can hide it. But I still recommend being honest about it. Tell them right away. Clear disclosure. What if they refuse to talk then? Then we don't get the confession. But if they stay, everything they say can be used in court. And Margaret, she looked at me seriously, don't try to trick them. Don't lie. Just ask questions and let them talk. That's all you need to do. What kind of questions? Why did they file for guardianship? Why did they move the money? What were they planning to do with your house? Where did they think you'd live? She counted on her fingers. But most importantly, are they sorry? Do they regret it? Or do they still think they were right? What if they are sorry? Margaret and Michael looked at each other. Then you have a choice to make, Patricia said quietly. But Margaret, I've been doing this for 35 years. People who commit this kind of planned fraud don't suddenly feel guilty when they get caught. They just make excuses. Thursday morning I woke up at 5 o'clock. Made tea. Sat at the table and tried to remember the last time Sarah and Lisa and I had a real conversation. Not about schedules or money or Mark's funeral. Just talk. Mother and daughters. I couldn't remember. At 9:30 I set up the voice recorder on the table. Small black digital device with a red light when it's recording. I wasn't going to hide it. At 9:50 I heard a car in the driveway. Sarah knocked on the door. Opened it. She looked terrible. Messy hair. Wrinkled clothes. Dark circles under her eyes. She'd lost weight. Lisa looked the same. Come in, girls. We walked to the living room. I pointed to the couch. They sat. I stayed standing. Before we start, I said, I need to tell you something. This conversation is being recorded. I pointed to the recorder on the table. I'm telling you this because I want to be honest. Everything we say here is being documented. If you're not comfortable with that, you can leave. But if you stay, you're agreeing to be recorded. Sarah looked at the device, then at me. You're seriously recording your own daughters. I'm protecting myself, I said. After everything that's happened, I think that's fair. Do you agree to stay? She laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Do we have a choice? You can leave right now. She stared at the recorder for a long time. Then she leaned back. Fine. Record it. I don't care anymore. I sat down across from them. I'm glad you came, I said. Yeah, well, you said you'd fix this. I said I wanted to talk. I never said I'd fix anything. Her face changed. What? I gave them enough rope. They just needed to hang themselves with it. Sarah stood up. What is this? Sit down, I said. Mom, if you brought us here for games, sit down. Something in my voice made her stop. She sat. I want to know why, I said. Why what? Why the guardianship petition? Why you paid a doctor to say I had dementia? Why you moved $85,000 of my money to the Caribbean? Why Lisa signed a contract to sell my house for 22% less than it's worth? Why you plan to lock me in a nursing home for $2,200 a month while you stole everything I worked 40 years to build? Sarah's face went pale. I want to understand, Sarah. What did I do that made you hate me this much? I don't hate you. Then why? She looked away. You don't understand. You don't know what it's like. Tell me. You and Dad. You had everything perfect. Good jobs. Good money. Nice house. You made it look so easy. And I tried. Got the degree. I got the job, the husband, the kids. I did everything right. Her voice was getting louder. But it's never enough. It's never enough. Do you know how much it costs to live in Dallas? To raise 3 kids. To keep up with Lisa's online image. She works hard on that. She posts pictures of vacations you can't afford and bags you bought with credit cards you can't pay. You don't get to judge our lives. I'm not judging. I'm asking. Why steal from me? If you needed money, why didn't you just ask? She laughed. Ask you for money and listen to lectures about saving and planning and how you and Dad worked hard for everything. No thanks. So instead you decided to take it. You're sitting on millions, Mom. You live alone in a house worth almost $1 million. You don't need all that. You're 65 years old. So I'm too old to deserve my own money. That's exactly what you said at the airport. I'm too old. Too slow. Too much trouble. Sarah's jaw got tight. The guardianship petition, I continued. When were you planning to tell me? There was nothing to tell. It was just in case. In case of what? In case you made bad decisions. In case you gave money away to scammers or spent it on family trips instead of saving it for us. Silence. Dr. Stephen Walsh, I said. Lisa's friend from college. He wrote a report saying I had memory problems based on an exam that never happened. That wasn't supposed to what? Get discovered. Wasn't supposed to matter because I'd be declared incompetent and wouldn't be able to fight back. Mom, listen. No, you listen. The house. Horizon Property Group. $640,000 for a house worth $820,000. Where was I supposed to go, Sarah? She looked at the floor. Meadowbrook Senior Living said. Lisa called them in November. Told them I had dementia. Asked if they had space. $2,200 a month for a shared room. You would have been comfortable there. I would have been erased there. And you would have been $800,000 richer. Well, $640,000 minus your debts. Her head snapped up. What do you know about our debts? Everything. The credit cards. The cryptocurrency losses. The fact that you're drowning financially and you saw me as your rescue. Sarah stood up. You know what? Fine. I needed the money. I need the money. We're about to lose our house. Lisa's online following is dying. I'm carrying over $200,000 in debt at 31% interest. And you're sitting here in your paid-off house with your retirement check and your trust fund acting like you earned it all by yourself. I did earn it. You got lucky. You worked at a hospital for 40 years and got lucky. I worked just as hard and I have nothing. You have $215,000 of debt. That's what you have. And a sister who convinced you that stealing from your mother was okay. Don't blame Lisa. She's already involved. This was her idea, wasn't it? The guardianship. The offshore account. It was both of us. Was the grandchild restriction order both of you too? Sarah froze. You were going to stop me from seeing Tommy, Grace, Nathan, and Zoe. Texas Law Section 153.433. Legal restriction based on my emotional problems. It wasn't going to be forever. Just until things settled down. Until I died, you mean? Until I was gone and you could tell my grandchildren whatever story you wanted about where Grandma went. That's not fair. Fair. I stood up. You want to talk about fair? I paid $520,000 for a trip I wanted to take with my family. With my daughters. With my grandchildren. Because I'm lonely, Sarah. Because your father is dead. And I wake up every morning in this empty house and wonder if anyone remembers I'm alive. And you took that money and left me at an airport like I was trash. We didn't leave you. Yes, you did. And then you tried to steal everything else. My house. My savings. My dignity. My relationship with my grandchildren. You weren't just trying to take my money. You were trying to take my life. Sarah's hands were shaking. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry. Fine. Sorry. I'm sorry you got hurt. I'm sorry the plan didn't work. I'm sorry you found out. You're sorry you got caught. I'm sorry we got caught. Are you happy now? The recorder light blinked red and steady. The Caribbean account, I said. What did you spend the $85,000 on? Why does it matter? Because I want to know what was worth stealing from your own mother. She was quiet for a long time. Then, cryptocurrency. We put it into digital coins. We thought Lisa knows people who made millions. We thought if we could just get one big win, how much is left? About $9,000. You lost $76,000. The market is unpredictable. We could have get out of my house. Wait. Get out now. She didn't move. I'll fight this, she said. I'll fight the trust freeze. I'll get a better lawyer. That money belongs to us. Dad left it to us. Your father left it in trust with rules. You broke every single one. Then I'll challenge the whole trust. Go ahead. You'll lose. You're being selfish. You're punishing us because your feelings got hurt. I'm protecting myself from daughters who were willing to destroy me for money they didn't earn and couldn't manage. Sarah walked to the door. Turned back. You know what? You deserve to be alone. This is why Dad and I used to complain about you. Everything is rules and punishment and cold facts. You never just let things go. You never just forgive. I forgave you 1,000 times, Sarah. Every missed call. Every forgotten Mother's Day. Every time you asked about my money before you asked how I was feeling. I forgave all of it. I told myself you were busy. That you'd come around. That family mattered. I stepped closer. But you don't steal from family. You don't lie to doctors and judges to have your mother declared incompetent. You don't plan to sell her house and lock her in a nursing home while you gamble away her life savings on cryptocurrency. I needed you. You needed to be better than this. And you weren't. Lisa's voice came from the doorway. I hadn't heard her come back from the bathroom. This is ridiculous. She walked into the room with her arms crossed. Margaret, you're being dramatic. Sarah made some mistakes, but you're acting like she tried to kill you. She tried to erase me legally. That's close enough. Please. The guardianship was just a precaution. You're 65 alone, clearly not thinking straight. If you're willing to destroy your relationship with your only children over money, over theft. It's not theft if it's family money. It's my money, not family money. I earned it. I saved it. And I decide what happens to it. You're being selfish, Lisa said. You're sitting on millions while your daughters are struggling. While your grandchildren are watching their mothers work themselves to exhaustion. You could help us. You could make all this go away. But instead you're choosing to be cruel. I chose to spend $520,000 on a family trip. You chose to leave me at the airport. Because you would have ruined it. You're slow. You complain. You would have needed help with everything. Paid for it. So what? That doesn't mean we owe you 4 weeks of babysitting an old woman. Sarah put her hand on Lisa's arm. Lisa. She shook her off. Well, she needs to hear this, Margaret. You don't need $2.6 million. You don't need this big house. You don't need any of it. You're going to die in a few years anyway. The money should go to people who can actually use it. People who are building futures and raising children and trying to create something meaningful. People like you. Yes, like us. We deserve that money more than you do. I looked at Sarah. She wouldn't look at me. We already spent $52,000 of that money on cryptocurrency, Lisa continued. It's gone. Untraceable. You can't prove anything. And when we win the guardianship case, and we will win, we'll have access to everything. The house, the accounts, all of it. And there's nothing you can do to stop us. Actually, I said there's a lot I can do. I let the recorder run for another 2 minutes. Then I stood up. That afternoon at 2 o'clock, Patricia walked into Dallas County Court with 4 things. 1. The complete audio recording of Sarah and Lisa's confession, legally obtained. 2. An emergency motion to dismiss the guardianship petition based on fraudulent evidence. 3. An elder abuse protective order under Texas law. 4. Formal removal of Sarah and Lisa as beneficiaries of Mark's family trust. By 4 o'clock, Judge Robert Martinez had approved all 4. The guardianship petition was dismissed permanently, meaning Sarah and Lisa could never file again. The protective order said Sarah and Lisa couldn't come within 200 yards of me or my house. And Sarah and Lisa were officially and permanently removed from Mark's trust. $2.6 million gone. But I wasn't finished. At Patricia's office the next morning, I signed 3 new papers. First, creation of the Chen Medical Research Foundation, a charity dedicated to cancer research and patient support. Starting money, $2.6 million from Mark's trust. I would be president. Patricia would be director. All money would go toward finding better treatments for the cancer that killed my husband. Second, the Tommy, Grace, Nathan and Zoe Chen Education Trust. $600,000 held in a trust that couldn't be changed until each child turned 25. Rules: they must finish a 4-year college. They must be financially independent from Sarah and Lisa for at least 3 years. They can't access the money if they're living with their parents or getting major help from them. And if Sarah or Lisa tried to manipulate, pressure or interfere with the trust, all the money would immediately go to the Cancer Research Foundation. Third, a new will. Everything I owned, the house, my retirement, my remaining savings, would go to the Chen Medical Research Foundation when I died. Sarah would get nothing. Lisa would get nothing. But Tommy, Grace, Nathan and Zoe would have their trust waiting when they were old enough to understand what their mothers tried to do. The house, Patricia said, are you sure? That's your home. It's too big for me anyway. When I'm gone, sell it. Use the money for research. Maybe help other families avoid what Mark and I went through. She wrote notes. The protective order stops Sarah and Lisa from contacting you, but it doesn't stop the grandchildren from calling. Have they tried? Well, then they don't know what happened. Or they've been told a story that makes me the bad person. What do you want to do about that? I thought about it for a long time. Write them a letter. Not now. When they're 18. Put it with the trust papers. Tell them everything. The airport, the guardianship, the recording, all of it. Let them decide for themselves who their grandmother was. And if they hate you, then they hate me. But at least they'll know what really happened. Michael Torres's final report came 4 days later. Chase Bank had successfully gotten back $71,000 of the $85,000 from the Caribbean account. The other $14,000 was lost to fees and the fact that Sarah had already moved it into cryptocurrency that was now worth about $1,200. Adult Protective Services finished their investigation and sent the case to the Dallas County District Attorney. Possible criminal charges, financial exploitation of the elderly, fraud, and identity theft were being considered. Sarah and Lisa's lawyers were trying to negotiate a deal. Dr. Stephen Walsh was being investigated by the Texas Medical Board for filing a false psychiatric report. His license was suspended while they investigated. And Horizon Property Group, the real estate company that offered to buy my house below its value, was being investigated for predatory contracts targeting guardianship cases. Everything was falling apart for my daughters. Everything was finally stable for me. On January 28th, I got a letter from Sarah's lawyer. It was an offer to settle. Sarah and Lisa would drop all remaining legal claims against me and the trust in exchange for $75,000. I wrote one word on the letter. Well, send it back. That evening my doorbell rang. I looked through the window. Tommy, Grace, Nathan and Zoe were standing on my porch. Open the door. Grandma Grace's voice was small. Can we come in? I looked past them. Lisa was in the car at the street watching. Are you supposed to be here? Mom said we could visit for 15 minutes. She said you probably wouldn't want to see us because of what Mom and Aunt Sarah did. What did she tell you they did? Grace looked at the younger kids. Nathan was crying quietly. She said you got angry because we didn't want you on the trip. She said you punished them by taking away their inheritance. She said you don't love us anymore. I got down to their level. I love you all very much. I will always love you. What happened between me and your mothers has nothing to do with you. Then why can't we see you? Because there's a court order that says your mothers can't come near me. And your children. That makes it complicated. Are you really mad at us? Nathan asked. No, sweetheart. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at any of you. I'm sad we can't spend time together right now. But that's not your fault. Tommy pulled an envelope from his jacket. I wrote you a letter. Mom doesn't know. Can I give it to you? Course. He handed it to me. I put it in my pocket. There's money set aside for all of you, I said. When you're older. For college. For starting your lives. Your mothers can't touch it. It's yours. And there's a letter I wrote explaining everything that happened. You'll get it when you turn 18. Read it. Then decide for yourselves who was right and who was wrong. Grandma Grace said I don't care who was right. I just miss you. Lisa honked the horn. We have to go, Tommy said. They walked back to the car. I watched them drive away. Then I opened the letter. Dear Grandma, I don't understand why adults fight about money. Mom says you were mean. Aunt Lisa says you're selfish. But I remember when Grandpa died. You were the only one who didn't cry at the funeral. You just stood there holding his picture. And later I asked you why. And you said because I already cried all my tears at home. At the funeral I need to be strong for everyone else. I think you're still being strong. I don't know what Mom did. But I know you. And I know you wouldn't hurt us on purpose. Love you. I hope I can see you again soon. Me. I folded the letter carefully. Put it in the drawer next to Mark's wedding ring and the last birthday card he gave me. And I let myself cry. Because being strong doesn't mean never breaking. Just means choosing when to break and doing it in private. They weren't just stealing my money. They were erasing me from my grandchildren's lives. But Tommy remembered. And someday that would matter. 8 months later, the Chan Medical Research Foundation held its first fundraising dinner at a hotel in Dallas. 250 people came. We raised $387,000 for cancer research. Patricia gave a speech about Mark. About his brilliant mind. His terrible jokes. The way he could fix anything that was broken except the cancer that was killing him. I didn't speak. I just stood in the back and watched people write checks in my husband's memory. Afterward, a woman came up to me. Late 40s. Kind eyes. Mrs. Chen, my name is Rachel Kim. My father had cancer. We lost him 3 years ago. I'm so sorry. I read about your foundation in the newspaper. The article mentioned what your daughters did. I'm sorry you went through that. Thank you. My sister tried something similar with my father, she said quietly. Guardianship petition. Fake medical reports. Everything. I stopped her, but barely. These cases happen more than people think. I'm learning that. The foundation, are you taking volunteers? Always, she smiled. Then count me in. Someone should have helped my father. Maybe we can help someone else's parent. Over the next year, the foundation grew. We funded 5 research studies. We provided support groups for families dealing with cancer. We trained social workers to recognize signs of financial elder abuse. Sarah and Lisa never contacted me again. The plea deal went through. 7 years probation. Repayment of $71,000 at $1,500 per month. Required financial counseling. No jail time. Texas courts don't like to put first-time white-collar criminals in jail, especially when the victim doesn't push for harsh punishment. I didn't want them in jail. I wanted them to live with what they'd done. Tommy, Grace, Nathan, and Zoe sent me birthday cards. Short notes. Careful words. I knew Lisa and Sarah were reading their mail. But they remembered me. That was enough. The house feels less empty now. I started hosting monthly dinners for foundation volunteers. Patricia comes over on Sundays. Michael stops by when he's nearby. I'm not alone anymore. And every morning I wake up in the house Mark and I built together. And I make tea at the table where we used to plan our future. And I think about the trip we never got to take. I don't regret canceling that European vacation. I regret that my daughters thought $85,000 in cryptocurrency was worth more than their mother's dignity. But I don't regret fighting back. If you're listening to this and you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been treated like a problem instead of a person, I want you to know something. You're not too old. You're not too slow. You're not asking for too much when you ask to be treated with basic human respect. And if someone tries to take that from you, whether it's your children, your spouse, or anyone else, you have the right to protect yourself. Legally. Completely. Without apologizing. My name is Margaret Chen. I'm 65 years old. I was married to the love of my life for 35 years. I raised 2 daughters who betrayed me. And I built a foundation that will outlive us all. I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And if my story helped even one person recognize the warning signs before it's too late, then maybe, just maybe, Mark would be proud of what I built from the ashes of what I lost. Thanks for listening. If you found this story meaningful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. And remember, family is supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. The moment they start doing the opposite, they stop being family. They become strangers who happen to know your address. This is Granny's voice, reminding you that age is just a number, but dignity is forever. Take care of yourselves out there.
I'm glad you watched this video to the end. This story was written by me and narrated using a female AI voiceover. Thank you all for watching this very story.